Folks, how the hell are ya? It's me, Maniac, and it is another Sabres game night as our blue and gold get ready to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Kind of a familiar foe over these last couple years, despite being, out of the division or whatever the hell you want to talk about. But anyways, with all the drama surrounding Buffalo sports over the last couple weeks, it's good to have a Sabres game night, and it's good to have this guy along with us on the Cross the Swords pregame show. Dwayne O'Mania. Dwayne, how are we feeling going into this tilt against the Blue Jackets and overall into this second half of the season?
The Blue Jackets are having a season that maybe many weren't expected. They've obviously made a lot of moves over the course of last year, bringing in players like Patrick Laine, pure goal scorers like him, kind of hoping to really right the ship there in Columbus. It hasn't really worked out, I think, to their liking, at least to their fans' liking. Especially after axing John Tortorella. But still an exciting team to watch, and I think a good test for Buffalo, a very winnable game, I think. Kind of questioned the goaltending decision going into this, not going with Craig Anderson, the better of the two goalies, but I guess that means Buffalo have their work cut out for them, starting Dustin Tokarski.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but Dustin Tokarski, it's been tough with Ticker and Ned this year. Ticker, again, is the team nickname. I don't love it. I'm not a big supporter of it. But I think this team is going to look to support him, and a big reason why. It's, similar to the Vegas matchup, even though that was on the road and a lot tougher. But you look at these last 10 games, despite the Blue Jackets being overall on the season, a 500 team. That's pretty much their MO. 500. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. But they're giving up 4 goals per game. So a lot of the core talent for this young Sabres team. And we've been talking about how exciting it's been seeing to get them going, despite the wins not always being there. Big chance for them tonight. Big chance for Tage Co to get on the board.
Yeah, definitely, especially after a long layoff. Hopefully they're ready right out of the gate. I know after, again, a long layoff, sometimes maybe it's difficult to really get those competitive juices flowing right off puck drop. But, these guys have had plenty of time to rest. So I hope they come out with a lot of energy, and willingness in the second half of the season. Really try and right the wrongs of the first half of the season. Season started off really good for Granato. This team looked a hell of a lot different. They were playing full 60 minutes. You weren't seeing the bad habits of last season, but then you get like 20 games in, 15, 20 games in, and then you start to see those bad habits start to creep their way back into these games where they kind of go silent for full 20 minutes at a time. The inconsistencies that we were so used to seeing out of from Buffalo Sabres hockey. So I hope, with this layoff, the All-Star break, you kind of right those wrongs and fix those issues. And you start to see, that blue-collar hockey we started the season off with, where this team is really just leaving it all on the ice from start to finish.
Yeah, and it is going to be a start-to-finish game tonight because despite, obviously Columbus allowing some offense in their last 10 games, they've got offense on their side. They've got some very balanced scoring across the board. They got about 10 guys with, 20 points or more on the year. So with that said, when you're looking at this Blue Jackets team and with the Sabres arsenal of what they have tonight, and knowing that, you really can't let them get more than 30 or 35 shots on goals, just plain and simple, given Tokarski. What's your plan of attack tonight? Like, how do you aim to shut down, what can be a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde type of squad in Columbus?
Yeah. Again, not the most consistent season for the Blue Jackets. Not the type of hockey we're used to seeing out of Columbus. From what I would expect from this team, honestly, again, a much more talented team than Buffalo, regardless of what records say. A lot more experience on that side of the ice. So with Elvis Merzlikins in net, it's going to be a tough game. Buffalo is going to have to really bring it right from the puck drop and really try and test him early and really not allow him to get into a rhythm. I think that's the way you win this game. And I hate the style of hockey when you have a goalie in that you really can't fully trust and who's so hot and cold. And Dustin Tokarski has played some pretty good games for Buffalo. But even with that being said, I mean, he can't be trusted to win you games night in and night out. And at the end of the day, he's an AHL level goaltender, and teams tend to play different in front of goalies like that. I think Darlene said it earlier in the season when UPL came in. It was, you play with more confidence in front of a guy like UPL who is consistently showing you that he's going to be able to, win you games and make saves when you need him to make saves. And I guess Dustin Tokarski isn't that guy. So I would expect Buffalo hopefully come out hot out of the gate and try and get a lead early. And then you could probably possibly see him sit back a little bit and try and play defensively minded hockey.
Yeah, I think it's going to be now again, and that's a great point from you. Get on them early because that's something that Buffalo was really able to do. It felt like in their last 5 to 10 games that they were constantly jumping out in front. As a matter of fact, there was a pretty sick stat, and sick in a bad way, unfortunately. I think that the Sabres are about 500 this year when scoring first. So it's been a tough go with them for everything this year, but it's been especially tough even when scoring first, which is typically a situation where you see teams winning 75% of games, not 50% of them. So with that said, your focus is obviously on getting that early lead and getting a good matchup. There we go. And I want to talk to you real quick. Did you see the Sabres prospect hubble bubble these last couple days?
The Sabres have the number 1 ranked prospect pool in the entire league. Yeah. That's actually something we've kind of gotten used to in Buffalo over the last 10 years. The Sabres, and they always find a way to screw that up, right? Like, under Tim Murray, you had a really nice pool of prospects. You traded away a lot of them for deals to get better now rather than play the waiting game and let these guys develop. But I think under Kevin Adams and hopefully Don Granato, things are being done differently. If you kind of pay attention to a lot of the narrative that's going around in Saberland, it does seem like the team, at least a portion of this team, is up for sale right now. And, the rumor is that you would expect big changes coming to the organization by the end of the year. And by big changes, I think maybe that plays into it. So I think that's another reason why you see the organization going about things differently and taking their time with it and not investing and spending a ton of money right now. And they're willing to be one of the teams that are not spending to the cap, because there's no reason to right now. Let these guys grow. Let these guys let them flourish, let them develop, and kind of take that blueprint that was drawn up by teams like Pittsburgh early on. Granted, Pittsburgh was able to draft Sidney Crosby, but the reason for their elongated success and the cups they won is because they developed through their farm systems.
Yeah, the farm system obviously plays a big role. I mean, Casey Millsat, just a prime example here. You've been a little bit vocal about him in that situation. With that said, he's obviously, you got to get healthy before you can do anything. There's no debating that fact. With that said, if we can get back to 100%, what's the structure there? What's the landscape on that? Because there was just so much hope with him coming in, and there was so much hope. Obviously, too much was asked too soon. That goes without saying. But with that said, is there a trajectory where Middlestat can find himself, a center 2, a center 3?
I think right now, as it sits, Casey Middlestat, when he's 100% healthy, is your best 200-foot centerman. I think he should be on your first line, personally, if it were me. Peyton Krebs, even with how well he's playing, I think he's he's more of a versatile player that you could stick on the wing if you need to. But if I'm asking for a centerman who's going to play, that, and I'm not comparing him to Patrice Bergeron, but a Patrice Bergeron type center where you're going to get him playing strong in his own end and then playing very well in the offensive zone, I'm looking at Casey Middlestat right now as being that guy. So right now, if all things considered, I think he's your 1C. But that's not saying that
1C.
Yep, I do think that. I think, but that's not taken into consideration. I think Peyton Krebs could be that guy down the line once he puts on more size and has a full year of professional hockey under his belt in the NHL.
Dude, if Casey Middlestat ends up being your 1C, the Sabres are going to be a dynasty because they're building so much youth around him. It's almost like they're writing him off.
Yeah, I know. And I was one of those guys. I wrote him off this time last year. I was upset with his size. It just didn't seem like the motivation was there from Casey. You spent all this time waiting for this 8th overall pick to develop and become what he was supposed to become. And he left a lot to be desired. And, you get him under you started to see shades of it, I will admit, under Ralph Kruger in terms of his defensive hockey. But he really started to come full circle under Granato. And, I hope that that development continues. I think he's matured a ton under Donnie Meatballs. I think that the lead, he's been able to get the best out of these players and what they're most talented at. And Casey Middlestat was a talented offensive hockey player in college and in high school. I mean, you gotta remember, this kid he barely played a full year of college hockey before he was drafted and brought right into the NHL. Same thing with Dahlin. Dahlin didn't play in the AHL. He played over in Europe with Frölunda, and then came right over to the NHL. These kids came over and started playing at 18 years old. And, maybe they should have, especially Casey, he should have stayed in college. He should have, chased the national championship, much like the way Owen Power is right now with Michigan. Owen Power, who's playing for Team Canada right now for an Olympic gold medal. So I think for me, it's it is a surprise to see Casey playing as well as he has been. Granted, again, this has been an injury riddled season for him, but Don Granato in his history of development, I'm not all surprised that he was able to get the best out of Casey Middlestat.
Yeah, basically everybody's gotten better under Donnie Granato, Johnny Meatballs, as they call him. With that said, it's time now to get to the nitty-gritty. We're here on the Crossing Swords pregame show, and it is prediction time. Nope, don't got that. But, Dwayne, I got to tell you something.
All right.
When it comes to getting ready for a party this weekend, I don't need to predict to tell you the place to buy a case for your Super Bowl party.
Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
And with that, we are back with predictions. It's time for predictions here on the Crossing Swords pregame show. So first, to kick it off, we got our special segment. Even though they couldn't be with us, we got intern Vinny and Gatesy. Let's cue them up here.
All right, my prediction for tonight's Sabres game. Columbus hasn't been that bad on the road this year. I think they're like 9-12. Sabres sort of struggling at home. And Elvis Merzlikins in the net for the first time ever playing against Buffalo in the KeyBank Center. I'm going to take the Blue Jackets in this one. I'm going to go 4-1 final score. I think the lone Buffalo goal is going to be scored by Kyle Okposo on the power play. I feel pretty good about that one. So I don't know if the Sabres, after this long break, I think they'll start off kind of slow, and I think Columbus is probably just going to have the upper hand in this one. I think Merzlikins probably the better goaltender in that out of the two. But a lot of time here for the Sabres to regroup, and we'll see what they do out of the long break.
Intern Vinny, that wasn't even a prediction, you big jerk. That was just speculation. I think he comments on that. You know what? We need a better take, though. Come on, Gatesy. Bail him out.
Hey, tonight's Sabres-Columbus game, I was going to go, I'm not really too sure with this team. Every game they play where then they're going to do well, they kind of shit the bed. Every game that they should be blowing out, they stay close and keep it competitive. I originally had the Sabres losing this game, so probably going to give them a 3-1 win. With Tokarski and net, he's probably going to have a good night again tonight. Team might play well in front of him coming out of the little break. I mean, this team is notoriously bad coming off of a few days off, so we'll see how this game goes, but I'll give it a 3-1 win. I'm going to have Alex Tuck with 2 goals. I'm going to give Anders Bjork one, too. I think he's going to finally crack one. So, 3-1 win for the Sabres.
What is going on with these predictions? He thinks Tokarski with another good game? Like, is Tokarski like running together good games, or what the hell is going on here?
I mean, I would say I believe that last game he started was against Colorado. He didn't play terribly. He didn't lose because of Dustin Tokarski. They just lost because
I agree.
The Colorado Avalanche.
With that said, it seemed like they were afraid to take a side, Dwayne. So I'm going to jump you here. I know you're ready to go, but you're in the main event, so I'm going on before you. Anytime the Sabres are a minus, a favorite, you got to take him this year. So even if it's only minus 105 versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, I like the young guys to score, and I like some good defense. And you know what's important? An air of confidence around Rasmus Dahlin. He's been nothing but criticized for the first 2.5 years here of his career. Gets to go to that All-Star game, gets that All-Star shine, and now he's got that All-Star confidence.
Yeah, I totally expect Rasmus Dahlin to play with much more swagger coming in the second half of the season. Obviously, he had the opportunity to play in Vegas at the during All-Star weekend and was surrounded by the best talent in the world. And I hope that rubs off that talent and, being able to have those conversations with those players, it rubs off on them. And you saw it during one of those interviews during All-Star weekend. He said he is 100% confident that they're going to figure it out here in Buffalo. And I love hearing that from the kid because, again, things haven't gone well at all, for the Buffalo Sabres during his tenure. We're coming off an offseason where we lost, both Jack Eichel and Sam Reinhart, your captain and your assistant captain. And a season last year that was supposed to be, full of a playoff push when you went and got Taylor Hall, like all these attempts to get this team to the playoffs have failed over and over again. And, to sit there behind a microphone and to say with that type of confidence, we will figure this out. There changes are happening in Buffalo. There's a culture change. I love hearing that from him. And, I believe last time he played, he was wearing an A, and I think he deserves that assistant captaincy right now because, to speak with that type of confidence, he makes me want to watch. He does, and I hope he continues to play, at least offensively to the level he's been playing at, and, hopefully turns it around and plays a better 200-foot game here the second half of the season.
Yeah, because we all know if he doesn't,
I'm not going to sit here and yell and scream about it because I think I've done enough of that already.
we don't want any more of that, folks. I got a 4-2 win. What was your score prediction?
I'm going to go 4-3 Buffalo.
Okay, I got 4-2. You got 4-3.
I'll be the optimistic Sabres fan tonight. I'm going to say, if I'm going to try and guess who's going to score, I'll go with our boy Dahlin, fresh off All-Star break. Granted, he is the one to play, I guess, if you want to call the All-Star game a game, the most recently played in any type of a competitive game. Alex Tuck, I think he gets a couple points tonight. And I will agree. I think Anders Bjork finally breaks that goalless drought of his and, gets on the board tonight.
All right. We'll see if Bjork can get it done. Thank you for getting it done by tuning into the Crossing Swords pregame show, brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case, not just on Super Bowl week, but all year round. Thank you very much for Dwayne of Two Goalies, One Mike joining us here on the Crossing Swords pregame show. Trainwreck Sports, this train never stops. And here on this channel, it's always about
Let's go Buffalo.